Good evening or good morning, depending on what time the show goes out. Welcome to another episode of What Now Irishman. I'm going to be joined by a very interesting guest today. Her name is Edah Zamani, and I really hope I pronounced her name properly. She is a British Iranian citizen and an activist based in Northern Ireland in Belfast. And we're going to have some very interesting chats tonight, possibly a lot about Iran. Welcome to the show.
Hello, thanks for having me.
And thank you very much for doing this on such short notice. We only got in contact yesterday, and we're talking already, so that's absolutely fantastic. So I'll just throw it straight at you. What now, British Iranian woman?
What now? So the last couple of months, the last few weeks have been really difficult for the Iranians inside and outside Iran. Uh, maybe you're aware, maybe your listeners are aware of the problems that we've had with the tyrant murderer regime of Islamic regime of Iran for the last 47 years. I was only about 4 or 5 when the revolution changed in Iran. And I clearly remember the colors of Iran, of my mother when she used to be a teacher, when she used to go to the school with her lovely skirt and lovely dress. It just turned into black, dark, navy, gray, everything just, and actually our lives, the color of our lives also turned. Everything became, anything fun became illegal and criminal, and it just went from bad to worse to the worst, to the
Let's
point
talk
that,
about the history of that. Okay, so I'm trying to rack my brain now. 1979 was it? Was that
yeah,
the year of the revolution?
yeah,
So before that, I think up to, and look, correct me if I'm wrong, up to 1935-ish, Iran was still known as Persia, wasn't it?
correct.
Yeah. So I'm a bit of a
Mm.
history nerd, so I know a lot about the Persian Empire, and I've an interest in Zoroastrian. I can never pronounce that. Help me.
Yes,
I can never pronounce it, but the teachings and some of the writings involved in that fascinate
yeah,
me. And some scholars will argue it is the foundation for an awful lot of religions that came after that. They're based, but you know, we can come to that later. But Persia, one of the oldest civilizations on the planet.
correct.
Um, uh,
Civilization started with Iran, with Persia.
yeah, so like you have there's writings, there's mathematics, there's teachings. We could spend the entire episode talking about Persian culture and the impact in the world. But at the end of the day, in the 15 odd hundreds, Islam took over. Islam rose to power, and
Yeah,
Persian culture was, some of it survived, some of it was destroyed, some of it there was kind of revitalization and rebirth, and very similar to our own culture. Our culture was decimated and destroyed by foreign ideas and foreign identities as well. But we'll say go from 1935 to 1979, it was essentially a monarchy. Would you class it as that?
yes,
It was
yes.
royal families.
Yeah, so I was 5 years old when the revolution changed. I was born in 1974. So, but what I remember is that my granny from my father's side always covered her hair. My granny from my mother's side never covered her hair. So, what I remember from pre-Islamic regime was secular democratic. I didn't know as a child. I know it now. We had Zoroastrian friends, we had Jewish friends, we had Christian friends, we had the Baha'i friends, we had people. Now I know they were atheists, so they didn't believe in God. We all were friends, and we had there were in my city. I'm from south of Iran. In my city, there was another sub religion called Sobi. I don't even know what it is in English now, but we had friends. My brother had friends who were from Sobi religion, and everybody was honestly, everybody was happy. I understand that maybe there was some people had some problems with the Shah, the king, or whatever, but most people were happy. We we had we I have very nice childhood memories because my family were happy. My mom and dad were happy. They were content. The neighborhood we lived in, everybody was content. Whereas after the revolution, all you heard was just hangings in the public. I remember I was 10 years old when I saw the first hanging in public, a man literally dying. A child should not see that. And whatever he had done, but it was the Sharia law, it was the Islamic regime who had sentenced this man to death, and everybody else was watching it. And there was actually the Quran was being recited in the background. So you could clearly collide, or you could connect Quran, Islam with the death, with the hanging. And that's not what a child should see.
What
Again,
changed? What changed in Iranian society? What prompted um, the revolution and the rise of Sharia? Why did so many embrace it?
um, back then, I
Yeah.
think so I mean we have been having this conversation. I think if we go back, what the way Khomeini was talking and the way he was trying to show that there is another side to this. I mean, I think I do believe that if to this date, if the people of Iran hadn't done that revolution, by now they would still say there was an old man, really nice guy. He was religious, he was godly, and he was going to bring so much peace into Iran, and we didn't make that happen. So, and I'm sure at some point some foreign countries have been involved too. I mean, I honestly, I'm not, I have never been political. I've never actually liked history or politics, but this regime has killed so many of innocent Iranians that we have all become political.
Hmm.
Everybody's just, all we think about is this regime to go, we haven't had peace for 47 years. And the Iranians were being killed within Iran. They could do anything. I mean, there are some really horrific stories that I can tell you now. The people here, with all respect, that the fact that they're actually interested to even talk about Iran, I understand that and I am very grateful. But they come and tell me, don't believe everything you see on social media. I lived in that country. My family were arrested at some point and tortured and had to flee the country a couple of years ago. I still have family in there who are messaging me and telling me what's happening. So how dare you coming to me to say don't believe everything you see on social media?
Mm.
Do you know what? I was about 8 years old, and my mother um I had gone with my mother to, it was somebody's funeral. I can't remember whose funeral it was, but one of my mom's relatives. And I could hear there was a grave next to us. There was no name on it, but I could see two ladies sitting there crying. And I overheard one of them saying they had pulled my son's nails out before they showed me his body. I was only 8 years old when I heard that.
Mm.
So the security services, for whatever reason, had arrested the guy and pulled the nails out. So the stories that we heard then, my own cousin, I was about 11 years old. My own cousin had gone he was a male cousin, he was going to get married in about 3 weeks' time. He had gone to a party, there were girls and boys together, and Etalot officers had raided the house. And I remember the party was in the street behind our street, and my dad, myself, my brother, and my mom, we were going to go to my uncle's house, this cousin's father's house, and we actually drove passing this house, and we could see the security officers outside, and people were being pushed into the vans. And my dad said, God save those kids, whoever is being arrested. So we went to my uncle's house. My cousin never came home that night. So everybody started panicking. We started looking for him. And a second cousin that my father had used to work for something for the government. I can't remember even who he was. He was able to find my cousin. He had been arrested. He was sentenced to 35 lashes. When he got arrested, he was buzzing the door to go in. He hadn't even been in the party. He buzzed the door to go in. Etalat officers were outside waiting. When he buzzed, they came with guns and told him, quiet, we go in with you. They kicked him and beat him with their weapon and got him in. They arrested everybody. I remember the girl who had the party, who owned the party, was sentenced to 81 lashes. My cousin, 35 lashes. And by law, whoever is carrying the lashes, doing the sentence, carrying out the sentence, has to put the Quran under their arm so they don't go too far. And they have to go as far as the Quran doesn't fall and hit the person, as in, don't be too harsh when you're doing it. And it has to be whatever material, whereas it was a cable with metal inside it, really heavy. He was hit from his neck when they brought him home, from his neck to halfway through his leg, through his thigh. He was injured, and we weren't allowed to take him to any hospitals because no doctors would see you. They would get arrested. So we had a doctor who was a family friend. In the middle of the night, she had to be sneaked into the house, like as if he was a proper criminal, a murderer, to get that guy seen. I remember we all stayed in our uncle's house, and he had to go into saline water to get him cleaned. And the screaming. So we were all sitting down. He was in the bath screaming. This is, this is not even, and the government wasn't even as bad as what they are now. They are even worse now.
Can I put a difficult question to you?
Yes.
Is it the men or is it the faith?
It's both. It's not just
Which,
the men, they're women. They're women now. They're women raping
yeah,
women.
when I say men, I mean humanity in general. So, uh, do you consider yourself a Muslim now?
I am a Muslim. I'm still a
Yeah,
Muslim, yes.
yeah.
I'm obviously not covering up. I drink, but this is the way I was brought up. I was brought up so we believed in God. We believe that there are things that by religion you have to understand and follow and make sure that you don't lie because God doesn't like it. This is how as initially that's how it started, but then it became, my mom and dad were very open-minded, and it wasn't the fact that you have to pray 5 times a day to go to heaven. It was all with what you do, the way you think, the way you act, the way you help people, the way you're kind to others. That was more to do with the side of God that I was brought up. I wasn't brought up as a very restrict Muslim, but Islam, as much as I hate saying this, Islam does allow, and I think to be fair with every religion, apart from Zoroastrians, we had Zoroastrian friends, and they were the only ones who would not try to force their religion on you. Anyone else were trying to, Muslims were trying to say Islam is the best. Jewish people would say that they are the best. Christians would say Jesus is the best. And maybe that's their belief. But I can never say Islam is the best. What I say is that humanity is the best. Honesty is the best. And justice is the best. So any religion that has not improved in these matters cannot be the best.
Mm.
And if you want to force others to believe what you believe is not the best either.
I have concerns with Islam in its current form, and I can be quite blunt and open with you. Um, my country, my nation, has been invaded so many times, and we're people who have, it's in our genetics now. We're a people who know what oppression, starvation, etc. feels like. I see Islam in its current state just as another invader, so I have to fight it. Now, on the other hand, I know Muslims. I'm friends with Muslims. As a gentleman I'm friends with, I speak about him quite often, that wishes me, I'll be expecting his text on Easter Sunday. He always wishes, he's a fantastic human being. He's a lovely man. But he said something terrifying to me because he's an honest man. He said, when they come, and they will come, I will have to turn my back on you because that's my team.
When the Muslims come,
When the extremists and the people who want to promote and push Sharia, he said, I will turn my back because
I
that's my team.
won't. I honestly won't. I think it's to do with the individuals, honestly, and the way they have been brainwashed. I hand on heart, I became a better person in this country, and it's to do with my upbringing, obviously, and the fact that I was open minded, but I still had a bit a bit too much of Islam in me when I came. For example, I had something against the Iraqis because there was a war between Iran and Iraq. So
Yeah.
I assumed there should be no Iraqi into my house because my ex-husband had an Iraqi friend. But I learned from, to be honest, from Christian neighbors that we had that you shouldn't have these. I mean, I if something is wrong, it's wrong. And I promise you, if the Sharia people come here, Muslim people come here and want to force something with to you which is not right, I'll be by your side. I promise. It comes down to individuals.
Mm. Do you think religion should be something that is extremely private and should be kept into our own houses? And that, now look, this is obviously a Christian country, and our people built the churches, so I'd never take them, no more than I would go to a Muslim country and ask for a mosque to be removed, because that's their faith and that's their country.
Yeah.
Do you think that, and again, this isn't to, and look, you're a British citizen living in Northern Ireland, so you'll understand where I'm coming from. Is it okay for me to say that this land is mine, the same way you would say that Iran is yours? Your blood, your ancestry, your people are there, dating probably all the way back to the Persian Empire. That is yours, and you have almost divine right to speak for it, to live it, to protect it, to fight for it. Do you think that's an unfair thing to say for any person, any nation?
No. If you yes, I do you know, I believe your country is yours firstly. And I have come to your country. Do you know I've had 5 jobs since I came to this country. I've worked really hard the last 25 years, and I've had 5 jobs at the same time for years. Okay. One of the jobs has been interpreting. The reason I chose that job because I felt I had a duty to the British community, to the British people, as well as the Iranian people. I need to give something back. I live here. I've learned their language, I've learned their culture, and I have picked the best parts of it. There are bits that I'm still liking my own culture, but there are many parts that I have chosen your culture or Northern Irish, whatever, English, whatever you want to say here from
We'll,
here.
I'll tell you, we'll get to that one in a while, because that's going to be an interesting conversation as well. But do you know what? We'll do it now. Okay, so I will have listeners watching the show who will be staunch Republicans. You know, they believe in a 32 county Ireland, and they will take offense at you living in Northern Ireland, calling yourself a British person. Now that's them. I'm a little bit more nuanced than that. And I had a great conversation with Tony Mallon about this quite recently. But are you aware of, or in your time here, in your 20 plus years here, have you experienced the divide between the Irish, the Northern Irish, and we said the Protestants and the Catholics,
Yeah, more than ever now, more than ever. In the last few weeks, it's been more than ever. I
why do you
have
think
very
that is?
good Christian friends. I have very good Protestant friends, and I have very good Catholic friends. But
Oh no, we have lost the feed. Hopefully she'll come back in. We will just pause it for a minute, and I may have to do some editing to fix this. Hopefully we'll be able to get her back, because we were just getting into some very interesting stuff. I'm going to pause it for a little while, and we will edit it out and see if I can get Edah back. Excellent, you're back. A minor
I'm
technical blip.
I'm sorry. I'm on Do Not Disturb, but my phone rang.
No,
The
that's okay.
ones.
That's cool. Yeah, I don't.
So
I actually don't edit, so that's going to be left in. I just, the conversations are as they're
okay,
recorded, so it'll be,
okay,
it's actually going
okay.
to be it's
Apologies
going
to
to be
your
kind of funny.
listeners, to your viewers. Okay,
Not at
so
all. Not at all.
yes. So in the last, as I said to you, I've never been political, so I've never I don't like wars. I just know that I don't like people getting tortured, killed, or whatever. So in this moment of time that I'm talking to you, what really hurts is that there's a pro-Palestine people here and pro-Israel people, and we are caught in the middle. Now, we had a regime which murdered, literally murdered and tortured, and not just the Iranians inside Iran. They fed Hamas. They fed the Houthis. They were funding Hezbollah, and they were causing so much trouble in the region and around the world. They shouted death to this, death to the United States, death to, just death everywhere, right? But everybody was happy, quiet, nobody was talking. Within on the 8th and 9th of January, over 35,000 people killed, tortured brutally. Nobody said anything. As soon as Israel and United States got involved too, for whatever reason they have, to help us, that's how we see it, as a liberation operation or a rescue mission, whatever you want to, people call it war. My family from Iran tell me, if when we don't hear the bombings, the hope goes. We just need to hear the bombings, because they are done with fighting with hands and teeth, and getting killed and tortured. So as soon as Israel got involved, then the pro-Palestine people, who are mostly, I'm sorry to say, but mostly Catholic, but some Protestant as well, are out. Hands off Iran, hands off Iran. Where were you? They keep coming asking me at the rallies, how do you feel about the 150 kids killed in the school? It's awful, but it's not Israel. If I don't know, Israel says I didn't do it, United States saying they didn't do it. There's a theory that the Iranian government did it, which might be true, might be not. But who is the cause of this? The Iranian regime. It is still the Iranian regime that caused the war that you're calling the war. So now we are in the middle. They come with not only with Palestine's flag, which I respect a lot. I have nothing against Palestine. I promise you. But they come with the Iranian regime's flag and Khamenei's picture stand next to us.
I'm,
Khamenei is a terrorist.
I'm going to tell you a little secret about the Palestinian flag waving Irish.
Yeah.
Okay. Number one,
What is it? I would love to know
I'm,
it.
they're not very bright. And I have no problem in saying that. These are not intelligent people. Number two, they have an inability to read history and understand what's going on. They don't have the capacity to understand. When they pick up a flag, they do not have the capacity to understand what exactly they're waving for or standing for. They just do it because somebody else does it. There's another issue with it. I don't know how much you know about Marxism and cultural Marxism and communism. It's the greatest evil in the world. Cultural Marxism in its present form, and a lot of these people would fall into this category. A lot of them are brainwashed. They're not. They don't care. They don't have the capacity to care. It's literally the fact that you've told me that these people pick up an Iranian flag and hold the image of the Ayatollah, whatever he was called. It just shows you they've no nuance, they've no understanding, they've no ability to understand. They're little sheep, they're minions, and they're absolutely
But
no
there are
use to you.
so many of them.
Mm.
More than the
And
non-sheep ones.
before, well, you see, the non-sheep are busy at work. The non-sheep are like you. They're trying to hold down 5 jobs and trying to pay their bills and trying to live a good life and trying to raise their children. And they
No, I'm sorry. With I was in court because part of my job is I have to go to court. So I was in court, and a barrister in court, because I was wearing the Iranian flag, he came to me and he said, are you supporting Iran? I said, yeah. So I'm there as an interpreter, Farsi interpreter. So of course I'm supporting Iran. It's my language. Iran is my country. So anyway, so I just said, yes, I'm an Iranian. He goes, oh yeah, well, you know what? I'm really pro-Palestine. And I said, okay. So I said, okay, you can be whatever you want. But no, I don't believe, please don't believe what you see on social media. This is the worst offense. Don't believe what you see. I said, about what? So you are to believe what you see about Palestine on social media. Have you lived in Palestine? No. So you believe what? So he's in work. He's a barrister. He's meant to be at some sort of he's non-ship sheep
No,
group.
I'm sorry. People mistake your position in life or your job with actual intelligence. That no, the ability to memorize can get you any job in the world. It still doesn't make you an intelligent human being.
Well,
It doesn't give you the
I mean,
ability to critically think.
he's busy in work too, but he comes out. There
Mm.
was a man. The first. I mean, I personally have been because I organize the rallies, and I try to do a lot and to have them going. Uh, I said from the beginning, I said only Iranian flag and only the lion and sun flag. No more flags. No, not United States. Let's just because of the sheep. There's so many sheep out there. So I just said, you know what? We don't want to offend anyone. We're in this country. We don't want to offend anyone. We're out for Iran, so we just do Iran. So we don't really say anything rude about Palestine and nothing, right? So focus. The day Israel and United States killed Khamenei, I mean, I would if I could wear a dress that was half American, half Israel flag, I would have done it from my heart. So that
What is your
day,
yeah? What is your
that
position on Israel?
they are helping Iran, I am so grateful. That's the only thing I'm thinking of. And I need them to continue and finish this injured murderer monster, because if they stay on, I don't know what Iranians in Iran and outside, I mean, they are threatening me outside Iran. There's, I mean, not directly to me, but they have said that they're confiscating the assets of the Iranians who are active against them outside Iran, and they have said they will execute them. So they have no, and they have, IRGC has people in this country
Hmm.
who are willing to do everything. Meanwhile, the sheep are out there making the noise. Do you know what happened last week? So let me tell you this. So the day that Khomeini was dead, we were out. I mean, the whole plan changed because we were going to do a speech. But we just had music. Everybody had the flags, United States, Israel, and we were dancing, celebrating. And a man came to me. I promise you, he was so angry, and he was spitting when he was talking, saying to me, "You are evil. You are going to hell," because I was next to the Israeli flag. And I said, "Why is that?" He goes, "You are supporting evil." And I said, "No, Israel supported my people who were being killed and tortured in Iran and killed Khomeini. If you have a child who is being bullied in school every day for years, and then another person that you believe that person is a bully comes and beats this bully who has tortured your child, would you not be happy?
The enemy of my enemy is my friend.
Exactly.
I understand. I understand the concept. I still, yeah, I still would never be able to in any way support any Israeli action. And I have family members who serve in defense forces who have been in that part of the world. They're not a people I want to support, and it's it is because their influence is too great. I don't like the idea of superpowers, or I don't like the ideas of families or wealthy people or governments who are pushing agendas, ideas, etc., etc. So Israel is too heavily influencing America. It's this it's not good for, you see, Iran is a huge country with a
Yeah,
large population, and it does have issues. Look, I despise Islam. I don't mind saying it. I despise the concept of Sharia law. I don't have issues with individual Muslims. I have
yeah,
no issues with people's individual faith, but I don't want another invading force in my country. But we're a small little island. We're a very small people, and these big bullies have undue influence and undue power in the future of my people. And the same way you're passionate about your people,
of
I'm
course.
I'm primarily concerned with
Can
protecting
I
my.
ask? Can I
Yeah.
ask you something? So, as I said, I'm not very good at history, but can I ask about the IRA bombings? Were they okay?
No, absolutely not.
Yeah. So
There's
then, the
there's
bad is
never, yeah,
bad.
yeah, there's one man's terrorist is another man's freedom fighter.
Exactly,
So
exactly.
I
So
I,
I'm
I
not
understand it. Yeah,
saying I'm not
yeah.
saying that I'm supporting, I'm loving Israel for whatever Israel is
Mm,
doing. I'm saying I'm grateful to Mr. Netanyahu to
mm,
help killing the people in the regime. And I'm hoping that Prince Pahlavi will go back. Referendum. What I want is, what I want to know from these pro-Palestine people is that where were they? Why did they never say a word when the Iranian innocent people were being killed? Okay. That you could
mhm.
still be, if it's humanity, it is humanity. And also, now that they are out and they're saying hands off Iran, what do my dad always told us? Don't tell me don't do this, don't do that. Tell me what else can I do to help, right? So you, Mr. Mrs. Pro Palestine, can you tell me what else do you think could be done here? So why do you not shout? I know the Iranian regime is never going to listen, but why don't you, if you are with humanity, why do you not shout, Islamic regime, surrender? Why is it no other nation cares, including I said I'm a British citizen, and I said I think I feel that I need to give back to the society. That's why I became an interpreter, because I thought the police, the courts, the doctors, they need to understand what's happening. So if I can connect these dots, I help. So UK is not doing anything, which is really hurtful. But if other nations, okay, so send your people, everybody go send some people. If you are with humanity as much as you guys talk, send people to Iran and have a referendum. See what the people of Iran want. Why do you just sit back, and just because you hate Israel and you hate United States, you just concentrate on the Mina school bombing? Hello. The first 4 weeks after the bombings, only 1,000 people were killed in Iran. In 2 days, over 35,000. The executions happening now. Do you know, I was on the BBC program once. It was a live radio program, and there was an MP or MLA from the Sinn Féin party. I promise you, if I weren't from Iran, I would have just melted that day and I would have cried. The way he described Khamenei, do you know what he said? He said, I mean, how did Israel and United States think people were going to receive the killing of an 86 years old man in Ramadan? Oh my goodness. 86 years old man. That murderer at the age of 86, after 30 odd years of killing, torturing, hanging, raping, he murdered a 19 years old boy on the first day of Ramadan with the azan. Azan is the call for prayer for Muslims. Islam is the month of Ramadan is the month of you are the guest of God and you're meant to be your best behavior. That man killed a 19 years old boy and he said it's to make him to give a lesson to the rest of them. So we are not talking about an 86 years old man, Muslim man. Oh, poor guy. So this is what he says, and the sheep follow. The sheep standing next to me with his photograph.
Is there a risk that the war action has created a martyr?
As in Khamenei, the martyr.
To the a risk that's
To the sheep. To the
again,
sheep, yeah.
to the people who are happy with the regime in Iran. There has to be people that are happy with it. The people,
Yeah, they are.
the people, yeah. So
we have sheep everywhere.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
is there now a risk that no matter what happens, you're looking at potential civil war in Iran?
I don't believe so. I don't think so. So I lived in Iran for 25 years. My entire family are from Iran. So we have extended families, so, brother, sister, they are married and they have families. So I do not know any within my people who is supporting the government. So there are very few sheep who are getting paid extra to do these things. So I don't know whether you heard about the 2 nurses. So doctors and nurses were told not to treat the wounded.
I didn't hear this. No.
So some did treat the wounded, and there is this. So a lot of them got arrested. A lot of the names came out. A lot of, we were trying and help them not to get executed or help, but we can't help. It's just social media. You try to say, no to execution, whatever, but they were all executed. But there are 2 nurses. So there were a few who were told on the day that the main 2 days, 8th and 9th of January, that they killed people aimlessly. They were told, do not treat the wounded, and they just said, we will. So they were all arrested taken down to the cellar of the hospital. 2 of them shot in front of everyone else, so they died. 2 ladies got raped, group raped, with outside objects as well. One of them has lost her uterus now. The other one is now carrying a bag here because her, never mind just the uterus, her bowel was also destroyed. And that's Khamenei allowing this. The sheep, when they want Khamenei to stay on, this is that's what they are supporting.
What creates that level of barbarism in humans?
I honestly, it's beyond my understanding. They are now bringing 11 and 12 years old boys to be at the Basij, at the stop point, whatever you call them, when they stop and
Checkpoints,
search
yeah.
checkpoints, yeah.
Yeah.
11 and 12 years old, and one is now killed. The first one was killed by the strike, and now it's Israel's fault because Israel has killed a child. You brought that child out. You brainwashed the child. You brought the child out. And the sheep is saying it's Israel. There was somebody telling me at the rally last week, because we had the pictures of the hundreds of pictures of the dead ones. And it's not, I mean, there are 35,000. We only have hundreds. And somebody was telling me, where is the photograph of the children in Minab? There is no photograph out of, I've looked to find, they are my children. They are kids too. They're Iranian children too. But Israel is not. Israel or United States, whoever has bombed that place is not the guilty. It's the Iranian regime. Why do people not want to go to the root of the problem? And there are some of them, they tell me, if you want to fight, go back home. What on earth? Is this the most clever thing you can say?
I can make it's not an argument, it's a debate point. I truly believe in the sovereignty of borders, and I truly believe in the sovereignty of the individual. And if your country is shit, to be crude, it's up to you to fix it. And that can be through the ballot box, it can be through uprising, it can be through whatever means. Support from outside is always helpful. Unfortunately, the support from outside is usually a double-edged sword. You're only getting support because somebody wants your resources. And I have huge issue with that. I don't like countries poking their nose in other people's. I have great pity and empathy for the Iranian people, but they're a strong, ancient people. Why have they not been able to, for 45 years, overthrow this regime themselves?
Because every time they came out, say with Mahsa Amini, I don't know whether you heard of Mahsa Amini a few years ago, they came out and they tried. There were some there were some arrests, there were some tortures, they killed, they executed. They go so badly that the people are empty-handed against bullets, like war bullets and tanks, and they can't do anything. And when the Iranian security services pick on you, they destroy you and your family, and you know it, and people get scared, and eventually they stop. So can I ask you something? You see, as I said again, so if it's a stupid question, I apologize to you and your viewers, listeners. In the World War II against the Nazis, there were, United States was there, and also some German people helped from outside to get rid of the
Oh, yeah,
Nazis.
absolutely, yeah, yeah.
And is that a good thing they did or a bad thing, in your opinion?
It's history is a terrible thing because the more I read, the more I learn that what I saw in the movies. I'm so far removed from World War II that most of it is from the odd book and then movies. And unfortunately, a lot of it is lies, and a lot of it isn't true. And a lot of wars, the reason they were fought isn't the reason that they were actually fought, or the victor writes the history and stuff like that. So my it's like the moon landings. If you asked me 20 years ago, did men go to the moon? I'd say absolutely 100% without a shadow of a doubt. You ask me today, I go, I don't actually think so.
Okay, but I'm not
Because,
talking
because,
about history about my country. I
mm,
lived in that country and my people
mm.
are still in that country. So it's not lies. What I tell you about Iran, hand on heart,
Oh,
I'm
I've no
saying
doubt.
it is.
I've absolutely no doubt because I understand the barbarism of humanity and I understand the barbarism of totalitarianism. I suppose
They are so strong. That
yeah,
cancer, stage 4 cancer, is so strong that only very aggressive chemotherapy from outside will
yeah,
kill the cancer cells. I've always said that. And with chemotherapy, people lose hair, their immune system goes low, but there is hope at the
it's
end of it.
it's a wonderful analogy. And look, I'll be honest as well. I have my own bias. I cannot. I wouldn't be human if I didn't have bias. And anybody who says they don't have bias is a liar. So I have a huge issue with Israel. I have a massive, massive, and it's nothing to do with Palestine. I don't care about Palestine. I don't
Yeah.
wear
No, I
Palestinian flags.
understand. I
But
understand.
I have an issue with Israeli influence in my life as a sovereign citizen, and they do influence my life through other means. So that's my bee in my bonnet
Well, then
in relation to Israel.
personally, if that's
Mm.
your view, then personally, I'm sorry if I'm sounding selfish. Israel
No, no, you're
hasn't done
not. No,
anything
no,
wrong
you're
to
not.
me.
Yeah, you're not.
Israel hasn't done anything wrong to me.
Hmm.
What I see is that they have killed Khamenei and a few people that no Iranians within Iran or from outside Iran were able to do it.
Yeah,
So
but I
for
agree
the
with you in the
rest of
sense
my life, I am grateful to Israel and United States. And
I
I'm
would.
sorry if it's hurting you or your
No, no, no.
listeners.
It's not. It's not that. It's not that. It's that I'm just being honest with you about my own bias. And but then from the other side of the coin, I am doing exactly what you're doing for my people. I'm speaking out and fighting against what I believe in.
Yes.
Now, okay, is my government actually executing people on the streets? No, they're not. But they're harming people in different ways. They're harming people economically. They're harming people through suicide, through lack of services, through all the bad things that's happening in my country. It's not as extreme as what's happening in yours, but I have 100% respect for what you're trying to do for your people, because I think that is the most important thing, that you must fight for your people. You know what I mean? You can have empathy for others, but your people come first, and that would be my sense
And
of.
that's what I'm doing. That's what I've
Yeah,
been
no, it's
doing.
fantastic. It's fantastic work. Are you worried? Are you scared that this? You said there that the regime is brutal and stamps out any resistance in the country. Are you worried that they will start going after people outside the country just to make an example?
I know they will because did you hear about there is actually a journalist in England, uh, and he and the wife, they both and they are activists as well. You know, they're doing rallies or whatever. They have been threatened. It was in the news. I read it the other day. I have the link. I can send it to you later.
Please, yeah,
There are,
you're
I
interesting.
will. And there was another activist who was killed in Canada a couple of weeks ago. So my family here were really worried, and they were telling me, Ida, you're doing these interviews. You know, my cousin, one of my cousins who was following me on Instagram back home, received a text to say you are following and someone who is extremely active against the national security of Iran. This is your warning. You have to unfollow and you have to stop, because she was liking my posts and she was saying, you know, well done, be our voice, whatever. I have families. I have another um, related people who've been in touch with me, because not everybody has internet. So some people, I don't know what happens, but for a few minutes, some people have access to internet to message me to say, and they all say, don't stop. Do not stop. Just be our voice. Go out, do this, do that. They were, their house was raided to be told that we know you're in touch with someone else. So my family have been very worried, and it is in the back of my mind that I could be at risk here, but I just cannot stop because people have lost their children, their moms, their dads, their loved ones. There are people still looking for their children. They don't know whether they're dead or alive. There is a mother who went through 200 bin bags, opening them to look at the dead
Jesus.
bodies to find her son. Now, these sheep, pro Palestine people, go and say to that mother that the war is wrong and I hate Israel. Do you think she understands that?
No, absolutely not.
So there is a 14 years old boy who was in the neighborhood of one of my friends who was raped by a group, and he is destroyed by life for life. And now you tell that boy and his mother that Israel is bad. Do you, honestly, it's offensive to hear that the way people are trying to tell us how to
Mm.
feel, what to do. All we are doing, I'm not saying don't hate Israel. You can hate Israel. That's okay. Don't force it on me to say you have to hate Israel, and do not if you're not coming to support us, if you're not to the with the right side of humanity, and you're not even saying Islamic regime go, don't bring the photograph. Don't bring the flag of Islamic regime.
How do you feel about the rise of Islam in the UK? Because it is now a political powerhouse.
Yeah,
How do you feel about that? How does that make you feel? Does it make
I
you
don't I don't like it. I don't
do?
like it. I
But
think religion is a very private thing. It's in your heart. It's spiritual. You have your relationship with your God. That God could be Father Christmas, could be Allah, could be Jesus, could be whoever. Could be nobody. You could believe in karma. You could believe in universe. That's okay. But don't force. Don't. I don't like going to another country. I don't like the idea of going to another country and trying to take over with your views and your culture. And you've come here. If you say, if I come to your house, we had a neighbor when I lived with my ex-husband. Whenever the Muslims, I'm ashamed to say this, but whenever the Muslims try to take over and come here and tell, and try to take over the whole thing, or now these pro-Israel people, whether they're Christian or they're telling me that Jesus says this is wrong. Okay, so first of all, I respect Jesus. I don't believe in Jesus, but also there are Protestant Jesus believers who believe that Israel is good. So, okay, so Jesus says two different things, or Jesus says one thing and it's being interpreted differently with the way you're brainwashed sheep. But anyway, so these people want to take over. It's like that neighbor that we had. She would come to our house and say, I had a few candles, I had, some, say, wine, some whiskey, tea, coffee, whatever, right? She would switch this light off, saying, it's better to have less light here. And she would go to the kitchen saying, no, 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 it's not time for red wine. What has it got to? It's my house. You're a guest here. Just get treated and leave. Go do that in your own house. Do
mm,
turn the light off and on whatever way you want, but you
makes
can't come to me. And this is what some Muslims. I am a Muslim and I will never force it on anyone, not even my own children. I have told my children that I am a Muslim. I have a Quran in my house. I do pray. I still pray every night in bed. I pray for whoever my loved ones that I've lost. I pray for whoever I know is injured. My loved one who are alive. I just have my own little relationship with my God, and I'm very content and happy with it. I don't force it on anyone, and nobody should force theirs on me. And I don't like the fact that these Muslims are trying to take over the country. So I think what's happening in the UK is just the same way as now tiptoeing around IRGC, not putting them on the terrorist list, and they're doing the same with the Islamic culture and Muslims here. I don't know what they're scared of. I don't know what. I'm not a politician, so I don't understand their brain. But I have a friend who lives in Dubai. She's one of my best friends. I have a few, but my best friend is also in Dubai. So Ayatollah BBC, sorry, Ayatollah BBC had news about Dubai being bombed by Iran, and it is awful. Obviously, Iran is doing it, but they're trying to obviously blame Israel and United States. So they have. So first of all, hello, it's the Islamic regime doing this, uh, attacking other countries. So when I was watching the news, there was this girl from Northern Ireland who was being interviewed, and from from my own interviews, I know that they cut the bits. So, with all respect to that lady who came and said that how scared she was because there was the bombings, but I firmly believe they didn't show everything she said. Maybe they did, maybe they didn't. I don't know, because they don't say everything. They don't show everything I say unless it's live and I say the way I want to say it, and that's how it comes out. But anyway, so they said that the bombings were happening in Dubai and people were being killed and this and that. And I thought, gosh, my best friend is there, so I'm going to contact her. So I contacted her and I said, I don't even know if you have internet connection, if you can see this or whatever. So first of all, the fact that it became two ticks, not blue, but on WhatsApp, two ticks, I realized she's alive, or, she must have been alive at some point recently, and that she has internet connection. So that was a plus, because with Iran, we don't have that. So you never know that you send a message, it's one tick and it's gray and it stays like that. And you never know if it's ever going to go blue, if it's ever going to go two ticks. And when it goes two ticks and blue, is this your friend on the other side or your family to tell you I'm still alive? So that's the positive, that I got the two ticks. So she responded to me instantly saying, Edah, life is as usual. Nothing has happened. And she said, when we watch the news, we just think, how are they able to make, how is the BBC able to make this news out of what happened? And what Dubai did, the Emirates did, which is amazing. And she was messaging me today again, because I heard that some Iranians are being banned from entering the country. And I was worried in case she was kicked out. So she told me that their government, I have so much respect for them because they have a lot more guts than the UK and many other nations. Their government, first of all, identified anyone who was in any shape related to the Iranian authorities. There was actually a club that belonged to IRGC club.
Hmm.
And there were restaurants that were being run by some of these higher guys in Iran have business outside, and they have some. The Khamenei's son has some properties in England. So everyone who was in any way or shape related to the Iranian authorities, their business was closed. They were deported to Iran. Okay, so that's that. And now, whoever was outside the Emirates and Dubai, when they wanted to come in, the Iranians, they stopped letting everybody in. They had their intelligence studying, researching the person before they gave the visa. And I think that was very good because whoever was in their country, they were protecting. Whether those people were my friend, the Iranian person who was still in the country, and they had already researched to make sure she's safe to the rest of the people in their country, they are now letting people in if they believe that person is safe. This I believe this is the best they could do. Even though my friend was telling me today that their lives are impacted badly because a lot of Iranians were doing business there, and they all have gone part-time, and the jobs are not very good. So they are being impacted, but they're safe.
Mm.
They feel safe, they feel respected. The government is actually doing something. Their king is doing something, not like the UK.
What is No, what is the wrong question. Tell me about your vision for Iran. What do you want to see in the next 10 years? What happens? The
Well,
conflict is going to go on for another it
while,
could,
while,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
So talk
So
about rebuilding. Who's
I just
who's who's in charge? What does an Iranian government look like that's actually for the people?
okay. So who is in charge now? It's the Islamic regime still. So I just cannot wait for them to end and finish. And I believe I still I know people tell me that Prince Pahlavi has been out of Iran for so long, and that Trump hasn't confirmed that he is the right person. With all the respect and all, I mean, I am really grateful to President Trump to help killing the Ayatollahs, but it's not his place to choose who should be the leader of the Iranians or the king or whatever. I think there should be a referendum, and Prince Pahlavi is the most liked, even though the BBC and some people lefties are saying he's not, but he is. And again, I know I don't have millions of families and friends in Iran, but I have quite a lot of them. Everybody says Pahlavi. I don't know anyone who says anything else, right? Apart from, do you know what? There is one Iranian lady in Belfast who is actually still wearing the hijab. So when we go out on the rallies, there are, I don't know, whatever, there are days that we have, there was one day we had about 150, 200 people. There are days we have only 30 people. There are days we have 60 people, whatever. All the Iranians are on this side with Lion and King. This one Iranian lady, one, is with the sheep. So that shows the portion. That I think in here, and some of the Iranians are not coming out now to the rallies because in their heart they're grateful to Israel and United States, but they have very close friends or connections to either the church or the people who are part of the sheep. So they want to keep the respect to those people, and they are not coming out to the rallies, even though they are posting on their Instagram. You can see they're always posting, but they are worried in case the people that the sheep turn against them, which I don't care at all. So about Iran, I'm hoping that Prince Pahlavi at some point will go to Iran for the transition period.
Where is he now? What, he was exiled, doesn't he? Or he lives in
Yeah,
exile?
United
Yeah,
States.
he's in the
Yeah,
States, is he? Yeah.
yeah. And you know what? There is a lady, Shirin Ebadi. He used to be a, a lawyer, a former judge, an activist, and she had to go to she had to be sent to exile because of her because she was a human rights lawyer, and she defended many women and many political people. So obviously Iranian regimes got her out. I read that, and I heard Prince Pahlavi, who was saying that he would use people like Shireen Ebadi, who have been very active within the Iranian um, regime transition, whatever you want to call it, the politics of Iran, and he would respect her idea. And people like her will be needed and used, not as in abused, but their knowledge will be used for the transition period. And then there should be a referendum. So some people tell me that you can't 100% believe what he say, because he might say something and he might do something else. Yes, I understand that, and there is a chance, of course there's a chance, but nobody can say 100% what's happening next. So the person who tells me Prince Pahlavi is bad, number one, so as I said, my dad always said, don't just say this is bad, tell me what is good. Okay, so don't just disagree with something, just tell me what you think is the better idea. So what else do they think is good? So either they have somebody in my mind that they think is good, but then the same theory goes for that person. That person might be saying something now, and then they might do something else in future.
Mhm.
The second thing is they might have nobody else in their mind. So can we just have a bit of common sense here, people? Thank you. And I mean, when I'm saying every Iranian, then there are some sheep coming saying, no, it's not every Iranian. Okay, we have one sheep and the rest of the Iranians in Belfast, little Belfast. We have one on that side, the rest on this side. So there are obviously the majority of Iranians outside Iran and inside Iran are calling Pahlavi.
If there is a regime change, will
Oh,
you go home?
I would love to. Do you know, it's been about 12 years I haven't gone home, and can I say something and you don't get offended? Your
Oh
food
yeah.
is rubbish. Your food is.
Hey. That's
Sorry.
that's that's British food you're talking about, not Irish food. Irish
All
food is
right.
awesome.
All right. Okay. Not
You
not
said
like that.
you
No,
said
but
hey,
honestly.
you said you were British. I'm Irish. I eat Irish cuisine.
Okay.
So
Okay. Fair
yeah.
enough. Fair
You
enough.
can't beat you can't beat the old bacon and cabbage.
Okay. All right. But honestly, our food is better. But honestly, I don't know whether you've had. So I always say, the way people talk, say you were talking about the way you're upset with your government because of those things that are going on within your government, in comparison to what the Iranians have to put up with. It's like Uncle Ben rice, which that Iranian regime is the Uncle Ben rice, and the Persian or Tilda basmati rice that the Iranians make. It's just, I mean, you have problems.
Mm.
Compare them with what the Iranians have been going through.
We don't have. You see, this is another thing. And again, I have to say to you, please don't be offended now.
No, no.
We're more civilized. we, we,
Obviously.
we don't do now. Of course, there are some people who engage in barbarism, but we don't tolerate state-sanctioned barbarism in Europe. We tolerate a lot of crap and a lot of corruption and a lot of poor leaders and a lot of poor decision making, but we don't tolerate barbarism. And unfortunately, a lot of the Middle Eastern countries do and allow it. And you can say that, okay, look, some criminals deserve harsh punishments, etc., etc. But it it's used as you
But
said,
you
it's
used
it's.
to have them too. I mean, here it was the same. At some point, come on.
I'll make a challenge. Here's a challenge for you, because we're both. I believe in what's called genetic memory, and we're ancient. We're from ancient people, and we have ancient DNA in us. Um, the Brehons, who would have been our Druids, is before Christianity. Um, there was no corporal punishment. They didn't kill you for your crimes. What they did, if your crime was heinous enough, they put you in a boat without oars and pushed you out beyond the ninth wave, and that was it.
Let
The
me die
gods,
there.
the gods, no, the gods decided your fate. You either went out to sea or you were washed up back on shore, where you would be captured by another tribe and you'd be a slave for the rest of your life. But they wouldn't take a life.
Do you know
It
there's
was
a
it was
group in do you know there's a group in India that at night times when they drive. Do you know that India and Iran have the worst driving?
Yes. Yes.
Uncle
Look,
Ben
it's
Rice.
listen, you know what? You know what? It's stereotypical. It's fine. You know what? The Irish are known as drunks and we fight and all this kind of stuff. Every
No,
culture
but I
has a
want to say
stereotype.
this: these people in India, whatever they believe, whatever God they believe in, they believe that if they don't, at night times they don't turn the lights on in their car when they're driving. They say if God believes that we have to die today, God decides that we have to die today or not. Our death is not in our hands, which is true in many
Mhm.
people, many religions. But you push those people in that boat and say God is going to decide whether you come back or not.
Well,
So
it wasn't
nobody
God.
says
It was the gods. There was many of them.
the gods or whatever. Yes, a few of them meeting. But also there
Yeah.
is another. I was watching. There was a Muslim. So I don't know uh, what country it was, but they were Muslims because they were covering their hair. There was this girl. She was sitting, and they had told her that she had had an affair. So you know that in Islam, the woman
Mhm.
gets stoned to death,
Yeah.
and the man just walks free. So um, this girl was told that she had an affair, and she had to sit and tell or admit that she had it or she didn't have it. Okay, and what way do they choose whether she was telling the truth or not? And they were saying we they heat up a spoon on fire, and they say you say I didn't do it. You bring your tongue out. I stick that. If you burn, if you are not telling lies, God will not make you. You won't be hurt.
Mm.
If you are lying, you will. And if you cry, it means you've been hurt, then you're lying. So they put the spoon on the girl, and it go. You can hear the sound of burning, and she's shaking. And then she drinks some water and puts her head down, just to prove that she didn't have an affair. And that's their God trying to decide who is guilty and
It's
who is
not, but
not.
it's not God. It's men. There's no point in saying that it's
Exactly.
God. It's
So
not
they
God.
so
It's men.
that
Yeah.
I'm just trying to tell you that both
Mm.
situation.
Mm.
To me, it sounds like this, with all my respect to you.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
But look,
anyway,
it's we romanticize our own culture and our own beliefs,
absolutely.
and
Absolutely.
but it's important for us to do so because without that little bit of fantasy and the little bit of magic and like did the jinns originate in Persia? I mean, the story of Aladdin and
Yes.
like
Yeah. Yeah.
culture and
Well,
fairy
it's not.
tale and
It's mostly Arab. Yeah,
mm,
but
yeah. But what I'm saying is that that general connection to old stories, to culture, to folklore, to
yeah,
history,
yes,
to we lost the magic in our lives and we should have there's so much terror and horror in the world that we should embrace a little bit of happiness and magic and funny stories
absolutely, absolutely.
whenever we can.
Yes, yes, yes.
So you're going to continue with activism in Northern Ireland. You're going to continue
Absolutely.
talking for your people.
And I'm
You're
hoping that I can educate some sheep.
that would be fantastic. Your day to day life. What's it like now for a fairly liberal Iranian woman living in Belfast? What's your day to day like?
Oh, yeah, I'm very
Do you
busy.
actually? I'm going to ask you straight out. Do you experience any racism in
I do.
Belfast?
I do. I do.
And what shape does that take, or how
So
does it look?
it used to be different. I remember the very first time I was I was racially abused was actually the very first day 25 years ago when I came to the bus stop and to stand there. I was standing waiting for the bus, trying to practice my English to say, how do I say 188? Because that's how much the ticket was. And this lorry driver came and passed. First of all, he splashed me with, I mean, there was water in my mouth, dirty water. It was so aggressive. There was no need for it at all. It wasn't raining. It was just a little bit of water on the ground. Anyway, so, and he showed me fingers. I didn't know what fingers mean, because different fingers in different countries mean different things. So he showed me fingers, and he said a word. It was effing something. So I had heard effing in movies and stuff, that when we were in Iran, if you watched anything, there was always some words. But I didn't know the second word, but I knew how it sounded. And I felt, from his body language, I felt something was not right. So whenever my ex-husband came home, at the time my husband came home at night, I said to him, is this, I showed the fingers and I said, is this a bad thing? He said, who did that? I said, and also, do we have a word like, I tried to sound like, and he said, who told, that was my first day out. First day out. And the funny thing is that I'm not from Pakistan, and I was referred to as that. And that
I
shows,
know the story. Yeah.
yeah, so that shows that that guy was a sheep. Because, but also what happened to my daughter, who is born here. Her English is much better than Farsi. She has been home. The last time she was home, she was only 3. Um, she's 14, so she was 2.5 years old, maybe 3. And my older one, she's now in England doing law, actually, but she's 21 years old. Beautiful girl. Honestly, she's pretty. It's not just because she's my daughter. But when she comes here, she gets social anxiety when she wants to go out. Can you believe this? She needs to take tablets if she's going out because of the way people are, and especially now.
I
Especially
can,
now with this.
I can tell you that that's race has nothing to do with that, because I would have my own daughter would suffer from social anxiety. That
No,
is,
no, no.
and
She is worried about racism because when she is in York, she says, I don't feel different at all. I don't feel that at all. And she's out celebrating her birthday, whatever, no problem. But I want to tell you this, my younger one, she's into horse riding, hockey, cricket, very good at her education, happy go lucky. I mean, she doesn't even care about anything in the world. The other day, I picked her up from the trains, and I knew she was very happy because she'd called me to say she loves tuna sandwiches. And when she rings to say, can you get me tuna sandwich? I know that she's in a good mood. So she rang me to say, when we are taking me home, can you get me a tuna sandwich? And say, okay. So she came to my car. She looked white. And I mean, she was shivering. And I said to her, what's wrong? She said, um, Mom, am I an immigrant? I said, what? She said, somebody just, and she asked me what that word is, the one that I was referring to earlier. She said to me, what is that word? And I said, why are you asking? She said, as I was getting off the train, somebody shouted, effing, that word, effing immigrant. A child was told. So I told her, actually, I'm very sorry that you had to hear this, but you're not an immigrant. You were born here. But even if you were an immigrant, you are a better person than that guy. Next time the guy says this to you, look at him in the eye and say, I hope you feel better and bigger now by saying this.
that's a good response. Do you know who is to blame for that sentiment?
Black
What your daughter
government.
and what you suffered? Well, look, the very simple
Blacks.
fact of it is the British and the Irish government, because you see, there's such a thing. I would be classed as being very anti-immigrant. I this is the stance I have to take to protect my own people. But I have lived through very positive immigration. Eastern Europeans came to this country in their droves in the 90s and early 2000s, and our society was not changed. They worked and contributed. Someone like you came to Northern Ireland and worked many, many jobs. Like you said, you felt you had a duty to contribute to society. Excellent, positive, wonderful. That's not what's coming in now. That's not what's entering the UK shores and the Irish shores now. There is a different class of people arriving. They're lower IQ, they're poorly educated, they come from violent places where human rights, human life, and women's rights are not treated and expected, are respected the same way they are in Western society. They're of no net benefit to our societies, and what they're actually doing is they're pushing your kids out of jobs, out of housing market, out of opportunity, and they're pushing my kids out of the same. There's a such thing as positive net migration, but there's such thing as negative net migration as well. And at present, what we have is negative net migration. It's causing
That's not all
drain.
of them. My own family have come here. I didn't
It's
come as an asylum seeker. Sorry, I have to say this. I didn't come as
yeah.
a, I came on a spouse visa, whatever. And I studied, I worked, whatever. So my family, they have come here as asylum seekers, but they are a lot more intelligent than a lot of people here. And the reason those people cannot get a job because they're thick and they are racist and that they
That's
don't want to, they sit in their
that is
house, they want
mm,
benefit. Whereas my family, from the youngest to the eldest,
mm.
including my father, who is 80 years old, he thinks he should pick up the rubbish that the local person has just thrown on the road. And my father believes that this is not right. We are in this country, you keep the country clean. He picks up somebody else's rubbish. So it's, you cannot just say that everybody is the same.
You're you can attribute certain traits to certain nationalities.
You can.
Yeah,
You can.
and I'll give you an example. The Pakistani Muslim, 9 times out of 10, not good people, not clean people, not nice people. 9 times out of 10.
The sheep.
Your
You're talking about the sheep.
yeah, your Indians are intelligent people, but they use opportunity to in this is I'm talking about the South now. They use opportunity to skirt our laws, so to speak, to buy property and to start businesses. The Pakistanis do the same as well. There are a huge amount of sub-Saharan Africans in the 26 counties of the Republic of Ireland at the minute in the asylum system that are they're never going to work. They're never going to contribute to society. Most of them are extremely aggressive and extremely dangerous. Our population is small. Do you mind me asking? I wouldn't know off the top of my head what the population of Iran is. I would have said about 80 to 90 million. But is
90
it more or is
million.
it less? 90
Yeah.
million. So I'm
Yeah.
not that far off. My people are about 4.5 million. That's it. It's a small little island. And I have to take very hard stances. Now, the Christian in me says you're wrong. You shouldn't have this stance. But my sense of self-preservation and my people's preservation and my people's future is more important to me. I don't mind going to hell for the betterment of my people, and I have
That's
no
what I
problem
actually
in saying
said to
that.
that guy who was telling me I was evil and I was going to go to hell. I said, if you are going to heaven, I prefer not to be in that heaven to be in hell. But you're right.
Mm.
I always believe this is why I felt that I need to give something back to this community because I've come here as a guest. Whatever they've allowed me to come to their home, to their country. I must show my respect. I must contribute in the society, in the country, in making it better. If I can have solar panels to help the environment, I will. If I can interpret to help, I will. If I can pick up rubbish, if I can help an old lady, whether Catholic or Protestant, carrying her bags, I do. I do because we are minorities here. There aren't, I mean, whatever, I know there are a lot of us, but we're still minority. And if from 10 people, one of them, well, from 10 Iranians, one of them do the wrong thing, it stands out more than
Hmm.
the rest.
Yeah.
So we are having to try and show you that we are not what the perception of all foreigners, all immigrants
Mhm.
is. And it's not pretending, it's from my heart. Honestly, it's from our heart. So the Iranians that I know around me here, many of them, they, yes, they're very successful, they have good business, but it doesn't mean that they have taken a job of that man who's sitting taking benefits and never washes his hands after he goes to the toilets, and you can't see one proper tooth in his mouth just because he's English or Irish. He's better than you. No, that's not the case. So if you are just, I understand. So say the when you're talking about the Pakistanis and the Indians, I have very good Indian friends actually. But when you're talking about what you're talking, I agree with you because they are minorities, so they have to try their best not to offend anyone because they are in this country as a guest. I don't believe that they should be treated like second class or like any lower, but we get treated, respect is never given, it's gained.
Hmm. Agree.
Trust is never given, it's gained.
Agree.
So if I want your trust and your respect, I have to earn it.
Hmm. But that works. That works both ways. Of course, that works.
Absolutely.
I'm gonna throw you a curveball.
Okay.
Tell me about the painting behind you.
Oh, it's not a painting. This is a silk Persian rug. It's called Talara Ayna. It's the mirror hall. It belongs to one of the kings. And you can, I don't know if you can see it or not, but if you look properly, the silk, um, I don't know whether you see the sun coming. It's so detailed. It's one
I'm
of
looking
the,
at it. I've been actually staring over your shoulder. I'm trying to pick out. I can see windows. I can see
yeah,
curtains drawn back. I can see chandeliers. I can see a
yes.
fantastic ceiling. Yeah, it's
So
very. But
this is what we used to have before Islam came.
yeah.
And that's what we hope to have again. Prince Pahlavi to
Hopefully,
sit on one of these.
hopefully, because the color is beautiful. I've seen loads of pictures of Iran in the 1960s and 1970s, and it seemed pretty westernized,
Mm.
as in it was cars, colors, music. Again, it's hard to know, is that romanticized, or what was it actually like that? You would hope it was like that, that it was just the
It
same as
was like
every.
that. I promise you
Yeah.
it was like that. At least
Um,
for my family. I mean, most people, I mean, in every say in now with your current government, there are people who are unhappy. There are people who think things are unfair. And it was the same in Iran at that time. I was only a child, and I remember we used to go to, there was a bar for, because my dad worked for the industrial oil company, so we had our own. We were actually, my dad worked with British people and English people, and he still remembers some English words, and he's picking up much quicker than my mom because he worked with the British people. But they are, I remember we used to go, and there were parties. There was alcohol, but never a abusive type of alcohol. Um, it was really good, and I want our children to have,
mm,
my sister has a son. He's lovely, and he's only 5 now. He was 2 when the authorities started ruining their lives, and I don't believe that he remembers everything that happened to him at that time. But when he sees a police officer here, he is so scared of the police officers, and I believe it goes back to
mm,
his memory of
memory.
that he
Yeah.
can't properly
No, it
remember.
exists. Yeah, it exists. It exists.
And even
Um,
now he says Khomeini is dead. A 5 years old child shouldn't be saying
mm.
Khomeini is dead.
Did you ever hear of a man called Dr. Umar Al-Qadri? Do you know who he is?
No.
Okay, just wondering. He's he's spearheading the rise of Islam in Ireland. He's what I call the Trojan horse. So he's
Is he
bringing
still there?
yeah, he's head of the Muslim Council of Ireland, and he certifies. Oh, he makes money from this as well. He certifies most of the halal slaughter that happens in Ireland. He's got a couple of companies and a few business partners, but
There's always money.
he's essentially the Trojan horse. He brings the softly. No, we're not here to take over. We're here to live in peace and harmony, etc., etc. But if you dig back far enough, you'll find him talking, doing videos about jizya and what punishments women should receive, etc., etc. He's a polished extremist, a very evil man.
He's the one who should be sent home.
He's celebrated by our government. He's celebrated and platformed by our media, but an evil man. Yeah.
Shame.
And like I said, he is the Trojan horse. He is what is going to soften up the sheep, as we call him.
As a Muslim, I know we're not from the same country, but as a Muslim, I apologize to you and your people.
Oh, you don't. It's not. No. It's not. You see.
No, but it's shameful.
It's far more nuanced than that. You see, I don't have an issue with the individual Muslim. Worship what I agree with you. Worship whatever you want in your own house. Believe whatever you want in your house. There's actually a religion called Pastafarianism where they worship the giant spaghetti monster in the sky. It's a mockery of, and they actually tried a test case to get it set up as a real religion and tried to allow them to wear colanders on their head so that in their passport photos. It was a wonderful social experiment on the idea that, look, religion is nonsense, you know what I mean? But we believe in something because we feel it inside. But most religions were tampered with by men. There's no pure word or true word because men are corrupt. But like I said, whatever you choose to believe in, you can do that in your own house. Like I said, I don't believe there should be mosques in Christian countries, and I don't believe there should be churches in Muslim countries. I've no problem with segregation and separation. I don't believe in multiculturalism. I think that I would never, ever, ever want Iran, for example, when you get your country back, to be less than 90% Iranian. You're always going to have a certain level of immigration, but you should be a majority. If you do slip into smaller numbers than that, then you should make sure that you protect yourselves and your people, i.e. you have more rights in your country, as in you get, foreigners planted property.
That's how Dubai. That's how they
they
have a lot of foreigners, but their own people have more rights than the foreigners. So you asked me about racism. Let me tell you this. So my own family had to come as asylum seekers, and as soon as they got their work permit and they got their first of all, from day one, they tried to work as volunteers here because we as I said, we feel we need to give something back to the community. We've come here, we have to contribute. So whatever they didn't have work permit initially, but they started working as volunteers. From my 14 years old nephew to my sister and sister-in-law, right? And when they got their status, they were looking to get privately rent a house. They weren't looking for benefit. They were looking to find a house privately to pay the landlord. Could they find somewhere to live? As soon as you said they were refugees, gone out of the window. I was their guarantor. Two of my very close friends, one from here with really high income, they were the guarantors, but they wouldn't even come to guarantors. They were eliminated. Anyway, we found a house through a friend of a friend that belonged to this guy. It was in a Protestant area of the Shore Road. Okay.
I'm just sorry. I see your dog. I couldn't figure out whether it was a cushion or a dog all through the show.
He's a dog. He's a cockapoo.
I'm a big dog fan. So.
Oh, I love dogs, and do you know Muslims don't?
I
Muslims
know.
don't, but they love. I think I think whoever loves dogs,
Mhm.
they become better people. I think if the dogs make you better people, don't you think? I think they do.
Yes, absolutely, 100%. And actually, I have no problem saying this either. Dogs are so much better than people.
So, um, so my family, we found this place. It was privately rented, but because the landlord knew we had a mutual friend, they accepted to let my family live there. So it was my sister-in-law and the two sons. One son, 15, and one son, 20. The guy who was 20 years old, already working, paying tax, right? Going to work first thing in the morning, coming home, like trying the best. My sister-in-law was also working, paying tax, and the 15 years old goes to school. Okay. From the second week that they were in that house, a number of people, could be anything between, say, 10, 15 to 60, outside their house with cardboard saying local homes for local people. And those were the people who had no jobs, that the tax that my nephew was paying for their benefit, number one. So they're standing. And first of all, this house is not a housing house, it's privately rented. So some of the neighbors started coming to us quietly saying, listen, we know who their leader is, we know who is doing this. And we kept saying, what's going to happen here? What's going to happen? They were worried, they were scared. And they came for 6 weeks. Every single evening, from 7:30 to 8:30, they were outside. Some days, they would bring a loudspeaker music around the house, kick the door, showing their bottoms, doing this to us. And the fear and intimidation, or they would come very close to the house, to the window, trying to film you from inside. What on earth? Right?
Do
Somebody
you know
had to
what
stop.
drives, but do you
No,
know
hold
what
on. One
drives
of the
people to that?
neighbors had to, hold on, please. One of the neighbors came to our house and said, they want to know your income. They want to know where you, I was their guarantor. I had to give them my income. We had to show their income. We had to show the lease that it was privately rented. And they said, apologies. We thought they were refugees and they were getting benefits and this was housing, right? So we thought, happy days. They're going, they're leaving us alone. The next night, some of them came back. The MLA got involved. Nobody could get them to move until they became a bit more aggressive and they showed some other signs of it became a big, because as long as you're standing somewhere and you're quiet, it's a free protest, it's a free country, whatever. So the police got involved and two of them got arrested and then it stopped. Now, when the rallies started, some of them that I know belong to that group initially came to us with very aggressive, saying, why are you here? You need to go to your country. One of them even said to me, my wife, we went to, I don't know where they'd gone to, an Islamic country. I don't know where. We went to your country. It wasn't my country because if they literally could have
Mhm.
not gone to my country, they would have been arrested. But we went to your country for a week. And when we went to a bar, it's not my country. We don't have bars anyway. So you just let him talk. He said, my wife had to cover up from head to toe, whatever, you come here, you stand. And I said, listen, the reason I'm standing here because I'm against what my government or that country did to your wife. It was wrong and I apologize. I am against it. That's why I'm here. Now, a few of them have become our very close friends because even though they thought they looked at us as immigrants and that this and that. And now they come and they say, we support you. We think you are doing the right thing, whereas the sheep on the other side can never understand what's happening. They don't want to hear. So at least I was able to speak to 5, 6, 10, maybe about
The
20 of them.
mhm. The
And they
original
have now
protest.
changed
Do you understand what drives people to that?
lack
Do you
of
like
education.
that why do people? So they look at they look at just people in a house. I don't have one. Their skin color is different to mine, and I don't have a house, so I'm going to take my anger out on them because it's their fault. When it's always the government's fault. I don't know what the UK policy is in Ireland on our social housing lists. I don't know why, but non-nationals are being bumped up the ladder. It's like a numbering system where you join. So you could, but there's Irish people that have been on housing lists for 20 years that haven't got a house yet. There's Indian families and Pakistani families and African families that have just arrived in the country that are getting a house, and it's creating a perceived two-tier system. Now, I don't know, is it government economic policy because they see that this person who's on the housing list for 20 years probably never has worked and probably never will work. That could be the case. And they're hoping that by housing this Indian, this African, etc., they will get a voter, number one, and a taxpayer, number two. So you can see it from economic terms and political terms. Morally, it's wrong. It just simply is. There's nothing that supersedes having a good moral compass, and it's morally
I can
wrong.
understand because you
Mm.
think, this whatever facility, whatever you want to call it, this benefit is in my country for my people, yet other people are using it. I
Yeah.
understand
Well,
this.
but not only using it, abusing it, and
Abusing.
yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And
Yes, they're
but now
abusing it.
look, my people, this is one of the biggest things. We have huge societal issues in Ireland, from a country divided because we're a 32 county country, but we still have foreign invaders on our land. From it doesn't matter what you say, the six counties of the north do belong to the island of Ireland, and that's something that will be hashed out over time, and hopefully come to some form of resolution that suits everybody. We have huge societal problems in relation to mental health, in relation to drugs, in relation to corruption, in relation to, we never fixed any of our own problems. In the 120 odd years of the state, we never
Yeah.
fixed our own problems. And now what's happening is we're importing in problems from other
Other
countries.
people.
And like I said, we now have gang wars in different parts of the country between different ethnicities. You know what I mean? We have our own members of the traveling community that are engaged in feuds from time to time and stuff like that. We never managed to deal with that fully, and now we have a whole host of. And I know it's not everybody, but you gave the great example. If you've got 10 foreigners and one of them misbehaves, it
It's
just
one
paints
pen.
all of the others. Yeah, it paints all of the others in a bad light, and that is just the reality of it. Let's talk about.
It's like here, if most people are nice to us, but there's one, it just takes one racist person to tell you something and you think, British people, Irish people are racist, whereas
Mm.
most of them are nice.
We used to be. I'll tell you what. The Irish used to be racist, but it used to be in a funny way. You know what I mean? Because we didn't actually have any foreigners in the country. It was rare to see a Middle Eastern person or a black person or something like that, and we'd still tell the old black jokes and stuff like that. But we also would have no problem with then people telling us the Paddy Irishman jokes, and you know what I mean, that we're a bit tick like, and all we do was drink and fight and stuff like that. Whereas we thought that was funny and hilarious. And look, times change and things become offensive and stuff like that. But
But the things in this country that should be privilege, they should not be just your right. As you walk in, you get it as your right. I get that. It
mm,
should be, you should be privileged to have an Irish passport or British passport. You should work towards it because you weren't born here. You are, or you're not from here. And I get it. I get it, and I work towards it, and I educate as many Iranian as I can when I'm helping them to say, try your best to contribute to this country. But it is hard unless somebody wants to change, you can't change them.
Absolutely. Okay, Edah, we've gone on for an hour and 45 minutes.
I
It's actually
know.
it's way longer than I normally go, because I like to keep them kind of short, because people have short attention spans, and it's a lot to ask people to tune into something for a very long period of time. I always like to finish on a positive. So whatever hopeful message you want to put out there, go for it.
Let's hope for a free Iran, that we have a secular democratic country where the Jewish, the Christians, the Zoroastrians, the Muslims, the atheists, whoever from any country lives happy, free, with no fear.
Fantastic. Thank you very much. I'm going to
Thank
drop
you.
you down. Stay in the green room for
Okay.
a second. I'll
Okay.
chat to you after the recording in a second.
Okay.
Just takes me a few minutes to click all of the buttons and wind the show down. That was a fantastic conversation. I've gone through a couple of different emotions there, because some of the stuff was horrific and some of the stuff was funny, and it just absolutely fantastic. A lady I'll definitely be getting back on if she's willing to come on again in the future. Thank you very much for tuning in. I'm going to be ramping up production, so expect a lot of episodes, one after another, over the next few days and weeks. Thank you very much.